Hello and welcome back to Sidebar at Verge 24. I'm Jane Simpkins with Trellis Group, and I am so excited to introduce all of you to Hannah Bebbington. She is Head of Deployment at Frontier. Hannah, please tell us all about Frontier and what about permanent carbon removal?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Frontier is an advanced market commitment to buy $1 billion of permanent carbon removal to be delivered before 2030. We bring together a large group of carbon removal buyers, both really big and really small. Folks like Stripe, Google, JP Morgan, Salesforce, H&M, Workday, Autodesk, lots of different companies, to buy really early stage carbon removal with the idea of accelerating the carbon removal market to scale. Permanent carbon removal is the act of taking carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and putting it somewhere for permanent storage. So for storage over 1,000 years. The types of technologies are direct air capture, enhanced weathering, bikers or biomass-based carbon removal approaches, and marine CDR.
Wow, you just rattled that off like it was no big deal, but that is amazing. Okay, another question for you. Why is advanced market commitments the right structure for Frontier?
Yeah, so an AMC, or an advanced market commitment, is typically used in the public health space. So it's been used to ensure the equitable distribution of vaccines to the developing world. So it was used to distribute the pneumococcal vaccine, it was used to distribute the COVAX vaccine, and this is the first time that we're applying it to any climate technology, in this case, permanent carbon removal. And the reason why AMCs are great is because they allow large groups of buyers to come together and send a loud demand signal to the market about what types of technologies you want to exist, even if they don't yet. So in the case of permanent carbon removal, the market was really struggling to scale. So technologies were super expensive and really small scale. So large corporate buyers didn't want to buy these carbon credits, but until they started to buy, there was no way for them to get cheaper and get bigger in scale. And so an advanced market commitment is a really great intervention to fix that chicken and an egg problem.
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, I'm so glad I know about that now. Okay, so going off of that, how should CSOs think about buying carbon removal today as part of their overall climate strategy?
Yeah, so when we think about what the world is going to need in order to get to net zero by 2050 or even 2040, as we just heard from Saul Griffith, we are going to need to radically reduce the emissions we emit, but also significantly remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So it's sort of a dual mandate strategy. And while 80% of this climate change mitigation problem is going to come from reducing emissions, we are going to have to do permanent carbon removal for the rest. And lots of corporates today are putting in place net zero commitments, or really this idea of we are going to reduce our emissions and then later remove the rest. The problem with that is if we wait until these net zero commitments come due, so if we wait till 2030 or 2040, the carbon removal market won't be at scale to support the amount of carbon removal we're going to need to do. And so really, CSOs should be thinking about a portfolio of reduction efforts as well as a portfolio of carbon removal purchases starting today. And even if those carbon removal purchases are small, so maybe you're going to do a spot purchase or some pre-purchases or some small-scale offtake agreements with a handful of suppliers, this is really important for getting those technologies to market and to scale such that in 2030, when net zero commitments do come due, we have a healthy, robust, functioning carbon removal market with cheap, high-quality technologies.
Oh, I love that. I like the idea of preparing and being ready. Okay, love that. Okay, so what's your vision for how the CDR market should evolve in 2030 and then in 2050?
Yeah, so zooming way out.
Yeah.
If we think about 2050, this world where we're going to have to reduce emissions and also be doing carbon removal at scale, the IPCC report says that we're going to need to be doing about 6 billion tons of carbon removal every year. And in 2050, we hope carbon removal prices are on the order of $100 a ton. So that's $600 billion a year in spend alone on carbon removal. If you back that out to 2030, in order to be on track for that future, we're going to need to be doing about 100 million tons a year of carbon removal. We hope prices in 2030 will be about $200 a ton. So that's $200 billion of spend every year starting in 2030 to be on track for 2050 goals. And so really what we think about today in 2025 is how can we as large corporate buyers start to get these technologies ready to be operating at that level of scale. So we want to be pushing these technologies sort of off the starting blocks so that we can learn a lot about how they get deployed in the field and then eventually pass the baton to governments around the world.
All right. Thank you so much, Hannah, for joining us today. It's great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.